Welcome back after a long absence over the holidays. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry I took my little time off. But we're going to talk about a couple things today. Couple interesting things happened. The Vatican and the Pope decided to open up a tomb to Lucifer on Christmas Eve. And no surprise since we know that the Vatican translated to Latin means the worship of a divine serpent, which, anyway. And then, this was everywhere you looked for the last week or two is drones and orbs and over military bases. But if you remember last summer, we had multiple Chinese spy balloons. Nothing to see here. It's nothing to see. It's fine. And then they were like, we don't know what the government said. Well, we don't know what they are. And I'm just like, really? Come on. First, you were telling me for, 70 something years that UFOs don't exist. And now you came out last winter and you said, oh my God, UAPs, you changed the name. And now everybody believes that UFOs are a thing. Listen, as a person that's seen a few different UFOs or UAPs, whatever we're calling them now, I never thought that they were from like a different galaxy. You know what I mean? That's just me. But I digress. So we got other countries' military drones or our own country spying on the citizens. What a shock, right? Um, I just think that if you watch my video about Red Dawn, it's a great '80s movies with Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen and a couple other people. But in that movie, we got invaded, through South America, supposedly in that movie. But with the millions of illegal military aged illegal in the U.S. already, I mean, is it that far fetched? I mean, especially, we talked about 5240.01, the Department of Defense initiative saying that the military can be called in if they expect violence, and now they can shoot to kill on U.S. soil and they can kill U.S. citizens. It's like only under Joe Biden, could some of this stuff get pushed through, and that's like, you know, don't ever forget Joe Biden is the worst president. I don't care if he had dementia. This dude, he couldn't even pull out of Afghanistan correctly. All right. And take it from me. I know what I'm doing when it comes to pull. Anyway, sorry, that was a bad joke. So where is this peaceful Biden to Trump transition? Now, I told you guys that Raskins guy, and I don't know if he's in the Senate or the House, some Democrat, he said they were going to refuse to certify Trump for this last election, even though he got the popular vote and he won like a landslide that we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan. And now they're trying to pull the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, Section 3, citing he's an insurrectionist, even though no one in the Trump administration, nobody, not Trump, not Pence, not anybody in the previous regime has been charged with insurrection. We all know that there was 60 FBI guys that incited the whole January 6th insurrection, quote unquote. All right, come on. If not, you need 48 boosters. I think you need. So, back to Biden being the worst of the worst. I mean, Afghanistan withdrawal, the sanctions put on Iran under the Trump administration, Joe Biden gave billions upon billions of dollars to Iran. And then what happened? Well, that October 7th thing in the West Bank of Gaza, where the Palestinians are under apartheid, under Israel for the last 30 years, 40, 50 years, whatever it is. Of course, Joe Biden, he's just, oh yeah, get anything you need, but anybody in America that was looking for help, they got nothing. They didn't even get an IOU. I mean, there's absolute incompetence. If this was a corporation, they would have shut down due to incompetence. The federal government is absolutely the worst of the worst. They can't get anything fucking done my entire life. It doesn't matter who's in it. If a Democrat's in, the Republicans will stonewall the other guys and vice versa. So I'm just hoping that because Trump's got the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, they can actually get some shit done, pardon my French, that actually helps people. Like, I'm sick and tired of like having a corporation get everything, and people that aren't from the US and other countries getting all of the benefits, and they're not paying taxes. They're not getting taxed to the wazoo. They're not getting an unlivable wage with the shrinkflation of Bidenomics over the last 4 or 5 years. And of course, everything was Trump's fault. Everything always is, it's all, it's all Trump's. Listen, I worked in a grocery store for a better part of it the last decade, and under Joe Biden, a can of vegetables or beans or whatever it was like 39, 49 cents, right? And this was in California where things are expensive, okay? And within the first year of me working and stocking the shelves overnight, that 49 cent can went to 99 cents in less than a year, right? And if you know math, that's almost 50% increase for, and that was every product in the store. I don't care if you were in the meat department, the produce department, if you were, in dry goods or canned goods, everything went up 50%. The cost of energy went up, the cost of fuel, which in essence raised the price of food and the cost of getting it there. And do you understand? So we know for day one when Biden came in there and they shut down all the oil, all the fracking, all the energy that we were making, and everything was cheap. Gas was cheap. You weren't wondering how you're going to pay the power bill and get food and the car insurance this month or fix the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, and I understand that the president is not the king of the world. I get that. The powers that have been running things since before Jesus, right? The same families, the same royal families. We can go back and say that every war since the French and American Revolution has been funded by the Rothschild banking system, and they funded both sides of every conflict since then, right? So, why do you think there's a perpetual cycle of war, more war, and then some more war? And it's like, if you watch my videos about the Jesuits or um, the Holy Roman Empire, that with the International Monetary Fund, the World Economic Forum, and the Bank of Rome, I mean, they're the ones that, with the Federal Reserve in the US, they're the ones that are, making economic choices for each and every one of us. And you can't, like Trump is trying to get rid of the Federal Reserve. He tried to fire the guy, and legally, you can't even fire the guy because he's part of a corporation. A lot of people don't understand that when the Federal Reserve became legal in, was it 1913, I believe, pushed by all the billionaires that survived the sinking of the Titanic, they all went to Jekyll Island. At Rockefeller's Island, he bought from the Native Americans that had like a altar of sacrifice that they went. Well, anyway, they went down to this island, right, where supposedly Native American giants lived there, right? And the Rockefellers, being the richest guy in the world, bought that island. They had the meeting that created the Federal Reserve on said island, Jekyll Island. So interesting stuff if you look into it. And it was a sacrificial altar that he built his little compound on this island over. So, it's no big deal. It's fine. If we're talking about we're talking about China. No, we're not. But it's just like, if you know that since the late 1700s, that there's been one banking company, the Rothschilds, right? They changed their name many times over the course of history, but they've always been in charge of the money, right? And he's like the real life Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. It's crazy. We just got to remember ladies and gentlemen, that the original families that are still in charge, they own 97% of everything. I told you about the U.S. economy is run by five companies: BlackRock, Blackstone, City State, Mutual, Vanguard, and I never remember the fourth or fifth one. But it's when you understand that the choices being made for all of us are made by, you know, as many people that could fit in maybe a small auditorium, that could hold, like, 100 people. That's about how many people are controlling everything. And it boggles my mind how we went from building cathedrals and masterworks of art and sculptures and paintings to building shit out of wood that can't even last 30 years, when these buildings that made out of stone and marble and all this stuff, they're earthquake proof. They should have been fireproof, but according to the mainstream narrative, they've all been burned down 10 times already. And it's just interesting to me that we can't do even the artwork that was done during the Dark Ages or Renaissance, whatever you want to call it. But I, listen, I'm pretty sure that everybody is and has already been deceived by the history books, the indoctrination of education that you had to get the right answer to pass the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth grade. And, we know that all of these buildings that are, 100 times bigger than what any human being would need are worldwide on every continent. You can go to New Zealand, you can go to Africa, you can go to China. You're going to have a cathedral, or you're going to have a giant government dome building with four spires, right? And it's like, it just there's no other explanation for me, and this is just my opinion. Put in the comments if you agree or disagree with me, but I just don't understand how we think we are like at the apex and we're the smartest and the greatest iteration of civilization that there was, when everything that I've looked into seems to indicate the complete opposite of what we were told, right? And you know just think of, I told you about Stonehenge in Lake Michigan and how all the copper of the Bronze Age, like 85% of the copper used in Europe and Asia, came from the island on the Yukon Peninsula of Michigan, is where all of that iron came from. And we know that at the end of the Bronze Age collapse, that there was a group of seafaring pirates that came in and burnt everything and looted everything of value. They were the ones that burnt down the Library of Alexandria in Egypt, one of the great seven wonders of the world. Um, so when we know that history is a group of lies that has been agreed upon by the victorious sides of each war, and that all the wars since the revolutionary period of French and American Revolution have been funded, both sides of every war, that was the Rothschilds, right? And so with the banking system, and we still see it to this day. It's the same divide and conquer playbook, where you get everybody riled up. You give them bread and circuses to keep them entertained, and then you give them that bit of nationalism and lie to them about, oh, this guy from 80 million miles away came in and blew up all these buildings, and now we have, the Patriot Act, the government spying on every email, voicemail, video that you make. It doesn't matter, right? You say any of these 60 keywords, and they're listening, they're recording. That you Edward Snowden is in exile, because he exposed the crime that our government was doing to the citizens of our country, and now he's in exile facing treason. Meanwhile, we got congressmen and women making $1 million insider trading deals with no consequences. Awesome. I love real life. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I know Lady Justice wears a blindfold. Okay, I get that. But can we get the actual criminals that are taking advantage of helpless people that can't help themselves? They should get Guantanamo Bay. They should get the gallows pole. I mean, listen, I'm just sick and tired of it, right? And the evil that has taken over and been promoted, and now if you go against that, that's why no good deed goes unpunished. All right. So the Decepticons, the Jesuits, the Holy Roman Catholic Church, the Phoenician Canaanites, that we still are under maritime law. We still use the Phoenician alphabet. The Jesuits have been inquisitioning and genociding Protestants and infidels, since probably the Dark Ages stopped, right? So just food for thought. Sorry, I took a little break. Good news, I'm getting a computer very soon, so the quality of my videos that I can present are going to be 100 million times better. So that's good news. And, you know, we got 20 days until Trump and Vance make it to the White House. Hopefully, no new wars start before January 20th of 2025. But more importantly, what do you think? Do you think anything will change? Let me know in the comments if you think anything is going to change. I expect more order from chaos from the Decepticons and the powers that should not be. I just wanted to say happy belated Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Festivus for the rest of us. All right, y'all. Till the next one. Peace.